What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And the Premier League is back in action for another weekend. And Chelsea kick the action off on Saturday lunchtime with a clash against bottom of the table Norwich City. So top versus bottom. Norwich City without a win this season. So it should be pretty straightforward for the Blues. It should be another 3 points in the bag. George, you're off to the game tomorrow. This should be a bit of a formality, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah. I'd be very, very shocked if it was anything but a Chelsea win. Good result in midweek, obviously, as we know. Clean sheet, another couple of, a lot of goals. And we're hoping for the same again. We've got to beat the teams at home, any team at home, really, but particularly the teams down the bottom half of the table. And Norwich are, no disrespect, but probably the worst team in the division. Championship, too good for the Championship, too not good enough for the Premier League. And I think it's a formality Chelsea win, and unless it's an absolute horror show. We did have that freak result against West Brom last season, which no one saw coming. So you've got to respect the opposition, but unless we get a red card or something ridiculous, I think it's a formality.
Yeah, I'd have to agree for me, mate. I don't want to be disrespectful, but Norwich are already down, in my opinion. I just cannot see where they're going to win any football matches from. But from a Chelsea perspective, George, obviously you just referenced the midweek result there. The downside was injuries to Romelu Lukaku and Timo Werner. I guess the plus side to it, if you could call it a plus side, is that the next run of fixtures that they're likely to miss are very favourable. Obviously, starting with Norwich tomorrow lunchtime, they've got Saints in the League Cup midweek, going on to Burnley and Newcastle. It's probably matches that we could kind of do without them in. But how concerned are you going forward about those two missing from the front line, and how different is that front line going to be looking, for the next few matches?
Yeah, well, we obviously haven't seen Chelsea without Lukaku or Werner in some sort of lineup, really. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how we approach the game. Obviously, I watched the video that you put out on the Blues Brothers about the Malmo game, and I think it was a mistake from Thomas Tuchel to go with Lukaku that strong. It's easy to say in hindsight, isn't it? Because I understand the reasons why he did it. He wanted him to get back to scoring ways and keep a strong team, because we needed to win the game. First and foremost, you've got to respect the opposition, but also he wanted to get the players that were maybe dipped in a little bit of form to get those goals. But it's cost us now, and we haven't really got, we've not just missed one option, we're now missing two. So interesting how he's going to go for the front three. I'd expect Hudson-Odoi, Mount, Havertz playing the false nine, I would imagine, for tomorrow. But yeah, like you said, every cloud has a silver lining. It's an opportunity for some of the other players to make a claim for themselves. And with Lukaku out of form, there was no guarantee he was going to score tomorrow anyway. So, I still think we've got too much for Norwich. And you're right, the fixtures do favour us, but it's not ideal. So it'll be interesting tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, it was a positive Kai Havertz and Callum Hudson-Odoi linking up for the third goal against Malmo in midweek. A nice finish from Havertz in the end. I think this is, as you mentioned, one person's misfortune is another person's opportunity, and I think it could be exactly what Havertz and Hudson-Odoi need. They've been struggling to get into the team, and now suddenly a big opportunity has presented itself, and I think it's absolutely vital that those two particularly make the most of perhaps the unlikely amount of minutes they're going to be picking up in the next few weeks. Do you think that Havertz and Hudson-Odoi can step up in this next run of fixtures?
Yeah, I'd like to think so with the teams that we're up against, but let's make no mistake of it. As soon as certainly Lukaku's back fit, he'll be featuring again, which means one of them's going to drop out. Out of the two, I'd probably say Havertz is going to be the one that misses out. I think Hudson-Odoi's got a real opportunity here to stake a claim for one of those wide positions. Played a little bit on the left against Malmo with Mount on the right. So I expect Havertz. Havertz is the one for me that's got to step up. And I know it's not his natural position, but he's got a bit more freedom now playing that false nine position, where he can just have that license where he doesn't have any defensive responsibilities. And we're going to miss a bit of energy tomorrow without Timo Werner, particularly on the press. And we know how well he contributes in terms of assists and everything else. So it will be interesting, particularly if it doesn't go to plan tomorrow with those three who steps up and comes off the bench. That's my main concern. But really, like you said, the fixtures favour us, so it's a good opportunity for some of those players to stake a claim.
Yeah, no, and I think also Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think we're missing people that are direct in the final third, that run at defenders, take them on. I think in essence, he's a little bit similar to Werner like that, quite pacey, will stretch back lines, is prepared to run at people, take them on. So I think that's a big plus for the front line to have that dimension in there. I mean, I'd love to see Lukaku, Werner and Pulisic linking up. We've all been waiting for that, a lot of Chelsea fans. It's just a shame that they're linking up in the treatment room at the moment, but that's just the way it's going. In terms of the rest of the team, George, should be pretty straightforward. Are you expecting any other major changes? Obviously, we saw Jorginho and Kante play in midfield in the week. Loftus-Cheek was on the bench. Do you think he's being rested for this game? I'd say if he doesn't come back into the lineup, I think it's very harsh given his form that he's been in. Do you expect him to be restored to the starting lineup in that midfield position?
It's the only one, isn't it? I think the back 3 or 5, as you call it, picks itself. Chilwell, Christensen, Rudiger, Silva, and Azpilicueta, I'd say. It's just, Jorginho scoring a couple, albeit from the spot in midweek, but I don't know, when you've lost that edge up top, maybe he might go slightly more defensive with the Jorginho Kante starting lineup. But I agree. I think it would be very harsh on Loftus-Cheek, and I think again this is an opportunity for Loftus-Cheek playing a team at the bottom of the league to have that bit more attacking presence. I
mean, I've got to say, I don't think we need to be looking at going defensive against a team that's not won a game all season, shipping goals left, right, and centre. I don't think we need 2 defensive-minded players in the middle of the park. Arguably, we should really be going with someone more attack-minded in the middle, given perhaps we've got a little bit less bite up front than we might usually have. So I really do think he deserves to keep his place in the team. He's done nothing to warrant being dropped. I'd like to see him in alongside Kante again. Do you think, standard 3-4-3 again? I mean, Tuchel did mention in the Malmo press conference pre-game that against the next run of fixtures are against teams that are going to put a lot of men behind the ball. Chances could be limited. And he did mention a possible formation change to combat that. You expecting any formation changes from the off tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it'll be the 3-4-3 for tomorrow. Particularly with, I think again he's been forced his hand for that with no Werner and Lukaku starting. But yeah, I'd expect a 3-4-3 tomorrow. And like I've mentioned, I can't see anything but a Chelsea win, despite the injuries, despite the fact that it's still a Premier League game. We have to take it seriously, but we will have too much for them. Finishing chances has always been our biggest issue, with Lukaku without. But in a weird way, I think it kind of takes the pressure off, because everyone's just so focused on Lukaku and why is he not scoring and this, that, and the other. And actually now he's been forced out of the team through injury, and we can just concentrate on, just as a collective unit, just trying to get the ball in the net and winning football matches.
Yeah, 100%. I think Kai Havertz obviously start in the most advanced position at the top end of the pitch. And I think last season he kind of came into his own towards the back end of it, kind of really suited that sort of false 9 position, or the number 9 position as such. And I think he did really well. So hopefully we can see him replicate that over the next run of matches. But yeah, as we've said, mate, it should be a formality. And this is now a big opportunity for us to build up a bit of a lead at the top of the table. We need to be getting 3 points here. We've got our tough start out of the way, picked up some great results, and now it's time to kind of hammer home that advantage and show that we really mean business. So 3 points is an absolute must this weekend. But that's just myself and George's thoughts ahead of the lunchtime kickoff against Norwich tomorrow. As always, guys, leave your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.